Now to the COVID-19 pandemic. Confirmed COVID cases in the United States passed 15 million today. That's the most for any country in the world. A much needed vaccine couldn't come any sooner. And we now know in as soon as 7 to 10 days, COVID-19 vaccines could arrive here in Georgia. But the state expects it will still take months before enough doses are available for most people. That's at least for those who are willing to get the shots. Our John Sherrick joining us now live with what's next.
We know the vaccine is going to begin to flood the state slowly over the next several months. More and more Georgians are going to become immune to COVID-19 slowly over the next several months, which also means the pandemic is not going to end overnight. So Georgia Governor Brian Kemp and Public Health Commissioner Kathleen Toomey are warning people again that the risk of the infection spreading will still be dangerous while the vaccine slowly spreads through the population. How many doses of the vaccine will Georgia receive at first? Hundreds of thousands of doses at least at first, a fraction of what's needed, but a start.
The limited amount of vaccine doses we will receive in the coming days will be going to the most vulnerable and those on the front lines of fighting COVID-19.
How quickly will Georgia receive enough doses for all frontline health care workers?
Certainly early January, I would think that we would have all health care workers covered.
What good are the vaccines if people don't trust them to be safe? In Atlanta, Morehouse School of Medicine President Dr. Valerie Montgomery Rice is helping lead a nationwide campaign to reassure African Americans especially.
We have had Black scientists, Black clinicians who have been involved in the development of the vaccine.
And she expects that Black healthcare workers on the front lines will be first in line for the shots.
The people who are disproportionately impacted by this virus will also have an opportunity to receive the vaccine first. And we would not ask you to do something that we would not do ourselves.
I can say with great enthusiasm, I can't wait to be vaccinated.
When will the general public have access to the vaccines in Georgia? Possibly by the summer, meaning the threat of infection will remain well into 2021.
Because until we can vaccinate as many Georgians as possible, we will not have the level of immunity within the state as a whole to prevent continued spread.
The state is advising hospitals and long-term care facilities to figure out on their own who in their own populations are most at risk. Let them have the first doses as they arrive while waiting for more doses to arrive.
All right, John, still on our way, but still need to practice those safety measures. Thank you.